Jay Sandine has served as Executive Director of Rockford Park District since May of 2017. He earned his MBA from Rockford University and began his career with the Rockford Park District in 1996, where he has since managed golf courses, police, sports core complexes, aquatics, ice facilities, park maintenance, food and beverage, and revenue development. Not sure which departments might be missing from that list. Sounds like you've done them all. Sandine has also served on boards and committees to include the YMCA, RPS 205, Rockford Ice Hogs, IWBC, Six Flags Great America, the Harkins Community Memorial Foundation, Transform Rockford, Alignment Rockford, and the RACVB. So clearly you're well involved in the community too, so thank you for that. In 2013, Jay graduated from the National Recreation and Park Association's Directors School in West Virginia. Parks and recreation is his life, as his grandfather and his father were both park superintendents. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Rockford Park District Executive Director, Jay Sandine.
All right, you all had to know we were going to bring a party with us tonight, right? Whenever the Rockford Park District's involved, so thank you very much, Tanya, for that introduction. A few things that I want to say is I don't know if we were on the original list of presenters at the very beginning of this, and the rumor is that ratings plummeted so low after Mayor Jury did his presentation. I don't know if this is true or not, but we were asked to come in and kind of do a season finale so the show doesn't get canceled next year.
Remember, mine was 15 minutes.
Yeah. Right. And then the second thing I want to say on behalf of Mayor Jury and myself is we have very important 6 o'clock appointments tonight. Mayor Jury has indoor golf league at Sports Core 2 starting at 6. And my daughter Bailey is in a conference championship basketball game at Kennedy Middle School with her Eisenhower Lady Eagles against the West Lady Warriors. It's going to be an awesome game. So when I'm done, I'm literally going to run out that front door. Do not be offended. It has nothing to do with anyone in here tonight, okay? But I'm really excited to be here tonight. And quite honestly, I am filled with a lot of love and appreciation for everybody that's in this room tonight and for the amount of support that you give to your park district, to me and my teammates, and the amount of support that you give in this community. I'm really excited that we're in between two really important dates. Number one is Veterans Day. And number two is Thanksgiving, and we're in the middle of both of those. And I think that's a really great reminder for us that we have a lot to be thankful for as a community. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here tonight. It really means a lot to me. So, all right. You guys ready? You guys ready? All right. Let's go. All right, thank you, Tanya, for that bio. I really want to talk about this for just a quick minute because this is really my bio, okay? I'm going to be talking a lot about heroes and people that I'm thankful for in the past and in the present, but these two heroes are really important to me. This is my grandpa and my dad. My grandpa's in the top left corner there, and his name was Jasper Giacconi. He was the first superintendent. He built and ran Rock Cut State Park in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and what I love about my grandpa is he was a consummate fighter for kids and for underdogs. That picture right there is a young man. My grandpa used to drive around and pick kids up in the back of his truck, drive out to Rock Cut, teach them how to plant trees, do work out in the park, and he would pay right out of his own pocket for the kids. There was no grant from Springfield that was supporting that. That was him because he had people doing that for him. Okay, he was a great, great man, and some of these people here tonight know my grandpa. He was awesome. He did a lot in the community, a lot of Christmas parties for kids at St. E's at the park, and he partnered better than anybody. He got so much done at that park, and you know what his currency was? It was homemade wine that he made in the bottom of his park house, right, Joe? That was his currency. So he built that park because of that wine and because of picnic tables. That's why Bill Howard went and paved all those beautiful roads and parking lots at that park. But he knew how to do that work, and that was just a beautiful thing. His daughter, my beautiful mother, who's here tonight, wave, Mom. How are you? So Jasper had plans for my mother, Bishop Muldoon, all-girls Catholic high school, Sicilian, to be married to another person, and all of a sudden she got set up on a blind date with that blonde-haired, blue-eyed Swede from East High School, who was kind of a troublemaker back in the day. And after my grandfather tried to pay my dad off not to marry my mom, and had guys following him around, true story, he welcomed him into the family and fell in love with my dad and got him in the park business. And he worked at White Pines, I think, for about a year. And then in 1977, he moved my family, I was one, down to a little town called Shabana, where he built in one of the most beautiful parks, Shabana Lake State Park. And that's where I grew up, living in those park boundaries and learning from him. That's my mentor right there. I got a lot of people, but that's the guy right there. That picture is special to me because we used to have events in that little park, and we would do an event every year, and it was for kids that had disabilities, and they would come in from Aurora. And my dad and his sportsman's club that he started, and my family, my siblings, would put on events for the kids. We would shock the lake. We would put fish in a little pool. Kids would learn how to fish. My sister, I remember, was cross-country skiing with kids that were visually impaired. He made us get in Woodsy the Owl, Rocky or Smokey the Bear outfits. That creepy clown in the back is actually my beautiful mother. But I learned a lot about giving back and about community involvement through these guys. It's my favorite line that my dad always told us is, he used to say, Jaybird, people come to our park to get away from the stress that they're dealing with in their life. If it's health, if it's financial, if it's family, if it's whatever, they come to us to get away from it all. And that's the role of our park district. So I really appreciate you letting me talk about those guys, okay? My dad died when I was 18. He had an unexpected heart attack. And my mom and I moved up to Rockford, into Jasper's basement. And when I was a 19-year-old kid, I walked into the old post office and got a job at one of the golf courses, mowing grass. And that was the start of my journey at the park district. And these four men had a lot of people that were important to me, but these four men took me in when I was 19, when I had lost my dad, and I owe them a lot. Clarence Hicks, Webbs Norman, Nate Martin, Tim Dempke. I will always appreciate what those men did for me and a lot of other young people in this community, and I have to pay them homage, okay? Now some of my current heroes, starting off with our amazing park board, all right? I think, I might be a little biased, but I think we've got the greatest public board in the land, okay? We've got 5 people who are incredibly committed to their work in loving this park district, and I think 4 of them are here this evening, starting with President Scott Olson. Scott, please stand up and wave, my friend. Vice President Martisha Brown. Hello, Martisha. I believe Secretary Jack Armstrong is in the house, back there. Who's actually celebrating 15 years of volunteer service on that park board. And Mr. Tyler Smith. Tyler, stand up. These guys are amazing. Their pay is crummy. It is $0. They volunteer their time. They donate on top of that. They get involved, and I love them, and they're very supportive of us at the Park District, so thank you to the Park Board. I also want to shout out some heroes, and that's my teammates at the Park District, who are the most incredible park and rec professionals in the industry, in the country. And so I would like to ask all of my teammates at the Rockford Park District to stand up and be applauded. So come on, guys. All right, so I often say there's 3 reasons why the Park District is so great. It's our park board and team members, number 1. It's community partnerships, number 2. And it's our very generous community, number 3. That's why the Park District is where it's at today, okay? So as Tanya said, I started as the executive director about 5.5 years ago. And man, it's been a real hell of a 5.5 years. It's been wonderful, but it's been challenging. I'm telling you, it's been really, really something else. I remember when I first started And I kind of knew it. You could just kind of see the lay of the land and everything. A lot of changes in our community, our demographics. Gone were the days of magic waters and golf courses just printing money like they used to back in the day. There wasn't a really big revenue profit producer anymore at the Park District, and the needs of our community were great. So when I started, this was a line that I came out with right at the beginning. We are a Park District rich in history that was built through the generosity of its citizens, strategic partnerships, and dedicated team members. Even during the recession, we've been able to consistently provide outstanding park and recreational offerings to our community. However, with declining fee revenue and years of a declining tax base, along with population and demographic shifts, it is becoming more difficult to provide the same level of service without an increase in revenue or a decrease in our footprint. And I remember saying that publicly, and everybody went, "What?" Okay? Because my 28 years at the Park District, we said yes to everything. We've helped everyone, and we're still doing that. It's just really a lot more difficult and everything. We talked about our playground woes. Did you know we have around 85 playgrounds in Rockford, Loves Park, portions of Cherry Valley, New Milford, and about 65 of those 85 playgrounds are past their 15-year life cycle in need of major replacement? That's a fact that we talked about. Those were new things. So our park board did what they've done forever, and I love them for this, is they said, you know what, we need to get back out in the community, we need to engage the community, and we need to ask them, for what they value. We need to reprioritize the priorities of the Park District. And we did that back in 2018, and we were everywhere. We went to where people were at. We had open houses, people came to us. We did engagement through social media. We did it through old school written surveys. We did phone surveys, everything. By the time we were done, almost 40,000 people gave feedback to the Park District in 2018, if you can believe that. And this is what they told us. We listed, this was one of my favorite questions, we listed everything that we do at the Park District. And we said, out of all the things we do, what do you value the most? And out of all 9 different forms of engagement, this is what came back. Okay? The blue is the things that people said that they wanted the most. And this is important. I want you to remember this for when we talk COVID year. Okay? This was in 2018. People said they valued parks, open space, trails, paths, youth programs, swimming pools. Those were the most important things. Community benefit things. Okay? Very, very important. I want you to remember that when we go along here. We took all of that feedback from those 40,000 people, and we developed our priorities based off of that feedback. It's not our job as Park District staff to tell you how to recreate. It's our job to ask you how you want to recreate, and then for us to deliver and execute. Does that make sense? That's how government's supposed to work. That's how the Park District works. So this is what you told us back in 2018. Focus your efforts on neighborhood parks, reduce your footprint. Okay, we're the first generation of the Park District that actually has been reducing our footprint, and it's not easy, but we've been doing that. Invest in your infrastructure. Invest in priority areas that the community told us was very important. Sell or lease district assets. Would you know that over the past 5 years, we have outsourced Magic Waters Water Park. We have nothing to do with the park anymore, but we get a big check from Six Flags. I can't imagine having that water park right now during COVID year and the years after, with how difficult that would be. Outsourcing the water park, selling parts of land that were obsolete that we didn't need, closing 2 golf courses, Alpine Hills and Elliott. It was very difficult work, but we've done that. And so we're following through on our community's feedback. Priority result 2 tells us how to program, how to partner, who to partner with, and that's an important thing too. I put a picture of Hard Rock on there, and I wanted to talk about Hard Rock tonight because that was something that was really exciting and really bold for the Park District. When the potential of a casino finally became a reality here in our community, and I think there was 3 different casinos that were up for discussion, and they were middle of their RFP process. The Park District was the only public organization that literally came out and said, we want Hard Rock. We support Hard Rock. We want them here. That's putting your chips in the middle of the table. That's going all in. But the reason why we did it, and it was a little controversial at the time, is because Hard Rock had reached out to us at the time. I'm not as familiar with the casino world and with Hard Rock, but when I met those guys, it was obvious to me that when they come into a community, they want to invest in the whole community, not just in the casino operation. So they came in and they heard that if they want to have a big impact, the Rockford Park District's the one to work with. And they came in and they said, what are your priorities? And I gave them the community's priorities that we just heard back in 2018. And it was a match made in heaven. I mean, they said, we support you, we support kids, family, culture, arts, music, let's go. And it was exciting to come out and endorse and support them. And I'm really appreciative of their team here tonight. Dan Fisher was the guy from day one that we met with. And I'm just so appreciative of you, Dan, and our partnership with Hard Rock, and can't wait to get started. Can't wait till that big facility gets built. So thank you for your help. Okay, this is also something that's very important to me and very important to the Park District. When we did that engagement in 2018, we learned of such a changing demographics in our community that we met a lot of different cultures that we didn't know and that didn't know the Park District. There's a lot of gaps of service that we are not providing to the community right now because of all those demographic shifts and everything. So when it comes to being a culturally inclusive Park District, what that means, it's pretty simple. I don't care, and we don't care who you are, what you look like, what color you are, how much money you have, who you pray to, who you love. It doesn't matter. You are welcome to come and enjoy your life at the Rockford Park District, any park, any facility. And that's important to us, or we're not doing our job. We talk about that all the time at work. We are here, we get tax dollars to support our community. If we're not supporting all of our community, then we're not doing our job. So that's something very, very important to us. Okay? Now I want to talk about COVID. I'm only going to give COVID one slide. All right? But it's an important slide. Back in 2018 when I first started, I started talking to the community about the true value of parks and recreation. It's been my experience growing up through the Park District that people love the Park District, but it's only because maybe of their individual involvement in the Park District. As an example, I'm a golfer. I love the Rockford Park District, but I might not know about Lockwood Park, Washington Park Community Center, summer playground programs, Nicholas Conservatory, all those other things, okay? I used to do, back in 2018, I used to give the doom and gloom scenario to try and make my point about the true value of the Park District. And I used to say in all those engagement sessions, and I'll do it here tonight. Let's pretend we're in 2018. And I would say, all right, guys, let's just say if the Park District went away, if it just left our community, do you think youth crime would go up or down? I can't hear you. Up. If the Park District left this community, disappeared, was gone, do you think economic impact dollars, that's money that our facilities bring in, sports quarters, do you think that would go up or down? Down, right? Health and wellness. How would people feel health-wise? Do you think they would get better or worse if we didn't have paths and facilities and exercise? You get my point. I use the doom and gloom scenario as the best way to explain the true value of the Park District. And little did I know that on March 13th, Friday the 13th, how ironic is that? March 13th of 2020, we'd get a call from Dr. Martell saying we needed to shut down the entire Park District because COVID had fully entered into our community. We had to close our facilities, our community centers, our swimming pools. Our Park District police officers literally had to put caution tape around the playgrounds and couldn't let kids come and play on the playgrounds, if you can believe that. We had to take the rims off the basketball hoops. We shut down. We were gone. Guess what happened? Youth crime went up 100% instantly as soon as we shut down. All the millions and millions of dollars that Louie and Derek and Danielle and the sports facilities, Milton, bring into our community went to zero. People's health. That's where mental health, social, emotional, that's where that got maximized because people didn't have an outlet. They didn't have recreation. But guess where people went? Remember when we did that survey back in 2018 and we asked people, what do you value the most? Remember what they said number one across all engagement? Neighborhood parks, paths, trails, open space. Guess where people went when COVID came into our lives and when this community's back was against the wall? Flooded their neighborhood parks, their open space, their trails, their paths, their golf courses. It totally validated our engagement back in 2018. So to me, yeah, COVID sucked, terrible thing, but man, it really, to me, maximized what life without the Rockford Park District looks like in our community. And if we aren't here, and if we're not successful, and if we're not supported, it's not a community that I want to live here. It's not a community I want to raise my kids in. It's not a community that I think a business is going to want to move to or stay. You guys get my point, okay? So that's enough about COVID, huh? All right. Last slide of business. It's really important. Facts of the Park District. We're a very confusing organization. Some people think we fall under the mayors or the... Illinois is one of only 5 states in the country that can legally have its own park district. So we are a separate governmental entity, which is great. And that's why parks in Illinois are so successful, because you have boards that are 100% park focused. You have foundations that support parks. It's a great, great model, and it's wonderful. But when it comes with that, it's real confusing. There's a couple things I want to hit. Number one, the park district is only 7.9% of the property tax bill. So when we read in the newspaper a couple months ago about holding the line on property taxes and we got to do our part, from organizations that make up 80% of the tax bill, that have multiple revenue streams, we're not the same, okay? We have 2 main streams of revenue: property taxes and the fees that we charge. Remember when I talked about the demographic shifts in our community? Families can't afford what they used to, the families that lived here 20 years ago. They can't afford the same thing. A lot of our families and kids need free and low-fee programs and services. So you take the fees away, all we have is property taxes. Those are our main 2 streams. So it's harder for us to operate with those limited revenue streams. Okay? We have held the line for 6 years during the last, I think, 8 years. It saved the community about $4 million. We don't receive, again, things like motor fuel tax, utility tax, marijuana tax, casino tax revenues that some of the other municipalities are receiving. This is the whopper. This is the thing that really fires me up. Would you believe that the Rockford Park District and the Park and Rec Agency, our industry, is one of the only industries that did not receive and was not eligible for any COVID relief funding in the entire country? Would you believe that? It's crazy to me, all right? Part of it, what I think, I've talked to Penny, our amazing CFO, about this, is, again, Illinois being one of only 5 states that can legally have its own park district. I believe that when the feds developed like the ARPA funds and other federal funding, I think they assumed that municipalities and other governments were going to take care of their parks. And that's the only way that I can kind of understand why we were kind of left out of that. But it's frustrating because, again, where did the community go to during that COVID year? They went to their parks. So it's really, really challenging on that. So I wanted to talk about that. Reduced footprint in priority area, I've already talked about that. We're seeing a lot of crime, again, in our parks. You know, we talked about that this past summer, so we're going to be looking at investing in more safety and security. So, all right, enough with the boring stuff. And now I want to get to, again, reasons why I think the Park District is so great and why we continue to get through year after year. We're going to be presenting another deficit to our park board Monday night that we're going to be working on to try to get to zero. This is how we've done it for 112 years. Again, amazing park board, best park district professionals in the land. Community partnerships have been awesome. And I know I picked on Mayor Jury a little bit earlier, and he totally deserves that. But what I want to say to Mayor Jury is that man has stuck by this park district from day one, okay? He is stuck by us from day one, when it was popular to do so and when it was unpopular to do so. Greg Jury always had the back of the park district and supported us, okay? Not just through talk and coming up to going to ribbon cuttings and things like that. When our plow trucks were empty of salt and we weren't able to fill them in other towns. Greg said, come on up to Loves Park. We'll fill up your trucks with salt so you can get the salt on the parking lots of the ice rink and the sports facilities so the families could go recreate during the wintertime. That's what I'm talking about with Greg and that guy. And it's not just Greg, it's all of Loves Park. It was Mayor Lindbergh before Greg. But Greg, you've just been awesome, man. And I just want to say on behalf of your park district how much we appreciate you. Mayor Jury and the city of Loves Park is doing something I think that no other park districts received in the entire state of Illinois. They're actually sharing revenues from Loves Park to the park district to help us out with our operation. Greg understands that he does what he does best and he helps others do what they do best. He's sharing dollars with us to support the sports core operations that bring in a lot of tourists. And we're able to free up money to reopen Sand Park Pool this summer, which was exciting. I think we got a little video that I want to share with you on that, Greg. Yeah, and that was just one of many things. But again, I really want to, because he deserves it, I want everybody to give Greg a really big round of applause for the support that he's given us. So, thank you. Well, that might cut into your golf league time. I didn't expect a standing ovation, but all right. Partners are very important, but at the end of the day, the generosity of this community is what built and advances this park district. And there are some very, very special names laced through the 112 years of this organization that has made it what it is today, okay? We're talking the Atwoods, the Nicholas family, the Aldine family, and many, many others. I want to add another name to that list tonight, and I want everybody to know it, and they don't like when I do this because they're the most humble, wonderful people that I've ever had the privilege of working with and knowing, but the name Ingen needs to be added to that list of champions of this park district. And I want to thank Rick and Lana Ingen for everything that they have done for this organization. They are the number one supporters of our park district, and it ain't even close, guys. And when I'm saying the park district, it's a lot of different areas. Their funding has helped support our playground at Washington Park Community Center, our Help Me Play program, which subsidizes and scholarships kids that can't afford programs, Alpine Hills Adventure Park, the Nicholas Conservatory, and you might have seen in the news recently that Aldine Golf Club, I need to say this quietly because we're at Forest Hills, but Aldine Golf Club received a What Rocks Award and is routinely, considered one of the top golf courses in our region, just like Forest Hills is. But what I'm going to tell you is it would not be anywhere near it is today if it wasn't for what Rick and Lana do for our park district. So on behalf of the park district and the community, those two individuals also need and deserve a huge round of applause for their support. All right. Thank you, Rick and Lana. I'm going to keep cranking. I've got some exciting projects I want to talk about here in Loves Park, in the parks. Again, back to what our community told us, neighborhood parks are very important. I'm excited to say that we've received an award through the DNR and the OSLAD grant program for $315,000. We're going to put money into that, and we're going to renovate Wants Park, which is right across the street from Sand Park Pool. We're going to have a new playground, a new spray pad, picnic shelter, fencing, ball field, and a lot of other amenities. Wants Park is, Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong, that's got the most kids out of any of our summer playground programs, right? Some summers we have up to 200 kids a day on average that go to that park free of cost, free for the kids, and a lot of field trips where they go across the street and hop into that swimming pool. So we're really excited to do that here in Loves Park. Huge shout out to Representative Dave Vella, and Ricardo is here representing Dave's office. Rep Vella has been an awesome champion of the park district, and he's helping us on a lot of different fronts. This is a whopper. Dave got us a state grant for $800,000 to fix up the shoreline at Sherwood Park, restabilize the shoreline and all the other amenities, where that's the home of the Loves Park Ski Broncs. So a really exciting project that we're going to be getting underway next year, and ribbon cutting in 2024, along with wines. Investment in next generation. Another shout out I have to give is to Representative Maurice West, who has done so much for this park district. Maurice is working hard down in Springfield for the park district, and he's getting us revenues that no other park district in Illinois literally are getting. We're getting some funding right now through an organization called ICEJA, which is Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority, the Department of Human Services. Nikki works with them, and we're receiving those grants for our kids here in our communities and everything. With those funds, this is a cool picture. And I put this in here because I'm a huge Bears fan, right? But part of the ICEJA program is our youth sports department, led by some amazing people. I see Nick and Milton and Austin. Lamont's not here. Kelly. We started the first ever girls high school flag football program here in the Rockford area. And I think we had 8 schools, is that right, guys? Or 8 teams representing our region, about 160 girls. The woman there in the front with the white, that's Barb McCaskey. Her husband is George McCaskey, who's the CEO of the Bears. And she came down through Bears Care and gave a check for $65,000 for equipment for all those young ladies. And they represented us well. And I have no doubt whatsoever in a few years, Danielle and I talked about it today, there's going to be some young ladies who are going to get full ride scholarships to play flag football for their colleges. That's the future, and I'm really proud of that. But through that ICEJA program and Maurice's help, guess how many kids were involved in these programs through ICEJA? 30,000 kids in our community were reached through these programs, through that ICEJA funding, thanks to Maurice West. That's crazy, and it's just awesome. So how about a round of applause for Maurice? Okay, when it comes to our kids, real quick, what I want to say right now is our kids are in crisis in this community right now. Some of our kids have been in crisis for a very long time. All of our kids are in a spot right now in the community where they need support. The level of mental, social, emotional issues that our kids are dealing with in town is something that we've not seen in our career before. We talk about this all the time too. Ms. Potter says it, and we talk about it. The kids now are different than the kids that were there 28 years ago when we were starting. They need so much more. They're exposed to a lot of trauma in their lives. But guess who's there for the kids? The Park District, like we have for 112 years. I'm excited tonight to unveil a video, and this is the first time we're sharing this publicly, but it's going to kind of officially kick off the open public campaign to finish off our indoor equestrian center at Lockwood Park. I want you to see this video, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. All right. First person I want to thank is Jennifer for sharing her story with this community and that project. I want to thank the Perks family. They don't even live here. Doug and Locke and the Perks family. They've given $1 million towards this facility, towards this project. The Blazer Foundation, the Smith Charitable Trust, Tyler. And I want to thank, this was super important for the success of this program, is getting support from the Winnebago County Community Mental Health tax. That was critical. And I want to thank Chairman Trelli. I know that there's a committee separate and they vote and they do this process and everything, but I want to thank the chairman also for his continued support of the Park District and for this project. That money is going to be key as we try to get this built. We're at about $4.3 million raised right now. We're going to try to shoot for about $6 million project, so we're a little short of the $6 million, but we want to go all the way up to 10 so that we have an endowment in place to help with the operations and the maintenance of that facility. That's very, very important. And the last thing I want to say about that and all the investment for our kids is all these investments from downtown Rockford to all these huge investments, the casino, it's so exciting. But if we don't invest in our kids in this town, none of that's going to be successful long term. Okay, I want everybody to really remember that. So thank you, Jen, for that. All right, this is how I want to end, with the greatest heroes, in my opinion, in our country, and that's our veterans. I want to tell everybody right now that the Rockford Park District believes, I believe personally, my family, that every day is Veterans Day, that every day is Memorial Day. It's not a one day out of the year type of thing, and we are honored to partner and work with our amazing veterans in this community, those that are here and those that have gone before us. Okay? I want to pump up and celebrate what's happening right now. It's been happening for a long time, but I don't think these guys get enough credit. And that's our Vietnam vets and the work that they are doing, not just at the LZ Peace Memorial at beautiful Midway Village, but all throughout the community. Okay? I've invited our friends that we're blessed to work with and partner with today, and I want to talk about them for a little bit. It's been fun getting to know the Smoke Brothers and getting to hear stories and learn about you guys. Nick can't be here tonight. Nick Pernello, he's a little under the weather, so he was unable to be here tonight. But Nick is kind of the ringleader of the bunch, and our prayers go out to Nick. He's incredible. It's not just LZ, but he's got a company, or an organization called Operation Fallen Flags. And I want everybody to, if you don't know about this, check into this organization. The guys have it's called the Glory Truck. It's a boom truck that drives around, and it basically repairs and replaces flags that are tattered or that need to come down and everything. It's something that Nick started with a lot of his brothers as a way to get current vets, young vets. This came out of a concern with suicide, increased suicide rates for our veterans, and they're doing amazing, amazing work. And we're honored to be a part of that. I want to give a shout out to our local unions. Our local painters union came in, and they're going to donate labor and materials to paint that Huey next year at Midway. The Park District is going to fix the memorial wall, along with some more investment in landscaping and lighting. But I just want to say that how much we appreciate you guys. And I would really like to ask all of our Vietnam veterans to stand up, please. And I want everybody to recognize these guys. The next group that I'm very excited and honored to work with is our great Korean War vets. Okay, I am honored to have Mr. Jack Philbrick, who's somebody who's very important to the Park District, very important to my family, who's been at this a very long time. Jack is the current and longtime commander of Chapter 272 from the Korean War Veterans Association. Jack helps to keep the memories alive of the Korean War vets and to have a whole series of events and support for those soldiers. And I'm really excited for him to be here. I want to ask you, Jack, if you could raise your hand so that everybody can see you. Jack wrote a letter to the Park District last year that we received, and he asked if there was a way that we could support him and the Korean War vets to get a new parking lot installed by the Korean War Memorial out in Loves Park. And the problem is, it's a beautiful memorial, but the problem is the main lot, when you come there and park, it's very far for the veterans to get from the main lot all the way to the Korean Memorial, which is the furthest away. And a lot of those veterans don't have the accessibility to be able to do that. My first call, as always, is to Mayor Jury. And my second call was to Rep Vela and said, we got to do this, guys. Would you please help us? And there was no delay whatsoever. So Representative Vela got the party started with a grant, I think for about $50,000 down in Springfield. Greg's going to help from Loves Park. The Park District is going to put in. And next year we are going to build a lot right next to that memorial right off of Riverside so that Jack and other veterans can get there and celebrate their commitment to this community. So, and we wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for you and your leadership, Jack. So thank you very much. Okay. So Jack told me a couple weeks ago that there are 59 names on that Korean wall. 59 names of people who who were lost in that conflict, who we lost, representing a tri-county area in our area. 2 weeks ago, we saw on the news, I don't know if everybody saw this or not, an amazing story about a man named Army Corporal William Zolik. William was 18 years old and serving in the Korean War in 1950 when he was reported missing in action. 3 years later, the Chinese People's Volunteer Forces announced that he had died in a prisoner of war camp. 72 years later, William's body was found and brought home to the United States of America. And last week, he was given a proper burial here at home with full military honor in our community. And he will be the 60th name etched on that wall. I'm really excited tonight to have William's family here. I reached out a couple days ago and said, would you please come? We want to recognize and tell you how important this is to this community. And so Arthur Zolik, who is the nephew of William, and Scott Zolik, who is the great-nephew of William, are here tonight. And I'd like those two men to please stand up. And my last message to these guys and to all of our veterans is this park district will always be here for you. We will always be here for your families. It's an honor to partner and support and work with you guys. And we wouldn't be able to all be here today with freedom, living our lives, prospering, enjoying our country if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you again very much for your service. All right, in closing, this is a cool quote that I want y'all to think about. What people don't understand, people don't value. What people don't value, people don't protect. What people don't protect, they lose. It is so important for this community to understand the true value of the Rockford Park District and what life looked like without the Park District back in 2020. Okay, so if you remember anything from the presentation, I promise this is my last slide, Mayor, because you and I have some fun in 15 minutes. It's more than just parks and recreation. The Rockford Park District improves the quality of life for citizens by providing a vibrant park system which increases property values, stimulates economic development, decreases juvenile crime, and improves our community's health. The Rockford Park District also protects the environment, employs thousands of kids, gives them their first job every year, and my personal favorite, we bring people from all backgrounds together through the common love of play. So I just want to say thank you for being here tonight. Thank you very much for your support of the Park District, and I hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving, and we'll look forward to a great 2023. Thank you, everybody.